Not my parents but her parents. I didn't know what to do or say when her mother walked in, so I yelled out loud. We were wrestling. Very awkward. People who have been caught having sex by their parents, what was that like? What's up, my bro? Been a long time without my friend. Just kidding, but I'm glad you're back for another story time. Since you're already here, can you go ahead and like the video and subscribe? If you do, I'll send you case of bang energy. Enough bang, let's start the stories. My sister caught me getting a BJ once. She didn't knock before entering my room. She saw what was happening, closed the door and left. Never talked about it ever again. My mom didn't say anything while we were doing it, but after I dropped off my girlfriend and returned home, she said, "You need to respect the people who are living in this house." I immediately knew what she was talking about. Edit, no, my mom didn't catch us in the act. We were probably just being too loud. Not exactly what you asked for, but when I was 18, my girlfriend at the time and I were watching movies in my room. My grandma came by and knocked on my door before coming in to say hi. She saw us asleep and fully clothed. She chuckled, apologized and closed the door. I heard my grandma telling my mom that she walked in on me doing something scandalous. Not caught, but one time in high school my girlfriend and I were at her house having sex, and she was very loud about it because we were the only ones there. So we thought. After we were done, we walk out to the living room and her dad was sitting on the couch and gave me a death stare I will never forget. He didn't say a word to either one of us, and she told me he didn't talk to her for a week. My mother had trouble starting her Vespa, so she came into my room to ask me to start it for her. Which was uncomfortable cause I was quite literally balls deep in my GF at that time. I hadn't locked the room because I thought my mother had left with her scooter. She just calmly asked how long it was going to take us and if I could pause and help her because she was late for work. It was more funny than awkward, to be honest. But we always had a pretty open way of talking about that stuff. A friend of mine that I had a crush on at the time had a dream to be an amateur dentist, so when I had a loose tooth, we were 13 or 14, she really wanted to tear it out. To the point where she hopped on top of me on my bed with her hand in my mouth to tear it out. I obviously resisted and was groaning because this was fucking painful and my thrashing was making the bed creak a lot, and my dad came up confused to see what was going on, and when he saw a girl I had a crush on straddling me, our faces inches apart, he promptly said, "Be careful you two," and walked downstairs. To this day I think my father is convinced that he walked in on me about to have sex with this girl cause he always gets confused when I tell him I never had a chance with her. Friend of mine tried calling me, did not pick up because I was hugging my girlfriend like dogs do. He had the brilliant idea to call my mom, who went straight into my room. At this point I was very close, as was my girlfriend. So I was unable to stop as the door opens, mom walks in, hands me the phone, while GF and I have post-hugging clarity. I took the phone, she went out. Told my buddy I call him back. I had eye contact with my mom while finishing in my GF. We never talked about this, but she sure as hell knocked every time she wanted to enter my room after that incident. Happened twice. First time was my brother, when I was like 17 to 18. Wanted me to move my car, so he walked into my room. Blanket was over us, but I was on top of her when she walked in. He just said sorry and closed the door. He profusely apologized later that day when I saw him again. Second time was my mom. She wanted to know if girlfriend was staying for dinner. Just walked in, flailed her arms around for a second, and ran off faster than I've ever seen her run before leaving the door open. We just got up, got dressed, and that was it. Mom never brought it up again. My high school girlfriend was on top and I wanted to be on top, so I pushed her backwards. When she fell back she hit her head on the corner of my nightstand and immediately started bleeding. When she saw the blood she started screaming and crying. My mother and her friends came rushing in to save her. She wrapped up with the blanket, so I'm just standing there at full mast with Susan eyeballing me. My mother and I were always open about this sort of stuff, so she knew we were having sex, and it wasn't a big deal. She did tease me for a couple of weeks afterwards, pretending like I was abusive. I snuck into my girlfriend's room and stayed the night one time because I had nowhere else to go. Usually her mom leaves for work before everyone gets up for school, but this particular morning her mom came in to ask her something before leaving. I woke up to her mother screaming get out of her bed and ripping the blankets off, and of course I was butt naked. Her mom started acting like she was worried her teenage daughter would get pregnant all the time, and I kind of just avoided her mother for a while because I couldn't look her in the eye. So anyways, that's the story of how my mother-in-law saw my dick when I was 15. Got caught banging my best friend's stepsister in her car in the driveway when I was 17. It was my grandmother that caught us. We were parked under a bright-ass HPS light that was on the front of my granddad's shop, with the door open, like the stupid, horny teens we were. I'm going to town, and I hear a smack on the windshield. My grandma is standing there with a furious look on her face and screams at the top her lungs, "Just what the hell are you doing?" I look up with what I can only guess is a horrified and confused look on my face, with my neon white ass exposed, and say, "What the hell does it look like I'm doing?" I pull out and sprint to the house, jump in my bed and pull the covers over my head. Needless to say, there was a very awkward breakfast the next morning. A few months later, I'm on my way out the door to take the same girl to prom, and she hands me a few 20s wrapped around a strip of condoms. She looks me in the eyes, smiles a big toothy grin, and says, "Now, don't spend it all in one place, son." My grandma is a funking legend, especially considering she's a Southern Baptist from Texas. That was one of the most hilarious things she ever said to me. I wasn't caught, but I snuck a girl over. We bumped uglies all night. She slept over and we slept nude. I didn't really think how I'd sneak her out, just wait until my parents left became the plan. So we're laying there nude, I'm awake, she's asleep. I hear the door to the basement, where my room was, open. I proceeded to grab her, carry her to my closet. She looked terrified and confused, thank God she didn't scream. Put her in my closet and grabbed underwear. Just after I put the underwear on, my stepdad walks in. The closet door was wide open, and he stood in front of it to talk to me, and I sat up on my bed. She just looked at him from the closet, and to this day I don't think he knows. Very close call, but I think he's clueless that on that morning there was a nude 16-year-old girl right behind. If he did notice, he's a legend for keep quiet to my mum and acting clueless. Edit, so spoke with my stepdad yesterday. He said he knew I had a girl over, but he was unaware that she was behind him. He'd assumed I snuck her out in the early morning. Told him that she was in the closet behind him, and he refused to believe me. He did tell me he was hoping to catch us half asleep in bed though. Not my parents, and it wasn't even in the act. My first girlfriend's dad found a big value pack of condoms in her dresser and took them as like an unspoken message that he knew. The thing is, I was always the one who would bring my own condoms, since hers were just backups. So her father was very confused why she never brought it up for like months, and he finally sat us both down and explained that he knew we were having sex. He also mentioned how disappointed he was that we weren't using protection. I remember the word idiot being thrown around at both of us. I proceeded to explain and then show that I usually toted my own condoms around with me. Never thought that I would see a father that was proud of me sleeping with his daughter. We awkwardly laughed it off and then went to get Mexican food. Lol, he was a weird dude, but he always gave respect where it was due. Lol, I got a decent story. So first off, wasn't caught in the action. Caught right after the action. And second, we were 16, so I know we didn't make the brightest choices. Girlfriend at 16 had a very religious family. They lived in the city, so there was no driveway or anything to warn us that a parent was coming home. Her parents were out for the day, and the GF and I were going to a movie that afternoon, so I drove over to pick her up. I got there a little early, so naturally, we used time wisely and had sex. Right after sex, doing our post-sex naked cuddle, we hear the front door start unlocking. We quickly get clothes on, done. Next, I'm not supposed to be upstairs in their house, again, very religious people and preach abstinence, and the stairs are right next to the front door, so there's no shot I'm making it down them unseen. The first thought we have is for me to hide, dumb 16yo, so I get in the hallway closet. GF's mom comes upstairs, sees her daughter and asks if she's still waiting on me. The mom takes off her shoes, brings them over to the closet, opens the door, puts them literally on my toes, realizes their feet, looks up, sees my face, and releases a full-on comedy horror movie scream right in my face. The three of us had a long conversation after which we pleaded that I was only waiting for the GF to get ready and I wasn't supposed to be upstairs, so I hid. Obviously it didn't work. Dated for another few months and now we're still friends. We actually joke about it every so often. Her mom didn't hold it against me in the long run. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.